I started getting back into reading in January of around 2021, and ever since then I've been obsessed. And out of all the books that I've read, I've rated a lot 5 stars. I've been wanting to be a little pickier with my rating system recently. I feel like I'm just maybe a little too nice about the books, and I want those ratings to actually mean something. So in this video, we'll be reading some of the books that I once rated 5 stars and seeing if they're still a 5 star to me today. Currently, I don't have a set TBR for this video because I am such a mood reader, but the first book that I want to read for this video is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This was actually what sparked my interest in doing this video because I saw on Snapchat I think it was 3 years ago today. I was at the beach reading this book and crying. I want to feel that again. So I'm going to pick up this book. I rated it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I do somewhat remember the premise. It's kind of like Divine Rivals, where it's like there are gods that are feuding, but also at the same time there's another story where I think there's 2 love stories that are happening, if I can remember. Oh yeah, but the story is told from the perspective of Aphrodite, goddess of love. I'm very excited to get back into this. I've been meaning to pick it up recently, and I thought what better way to do that than doing a video like this one. We will get started on this right now. Alright. Whoa. Alright, I wanted to give a little bit of an update. So I'm about 92 pages into Lovely War. I am loving it. This reread has been so fun, but also so sad. I am very emotional already. I'm just highlighting so many good things. I'm not someone that annotates very often at all, so this is actually very fun for me. I'm not writing anything, but I'm just marking and highlighting different quotes that I'm loving. They all mean different things. One is just, that was beautiful, love is real, I'm gonna cry forever now, and I just liked that line. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. I'm not looking for anything specific. Also picked up another book that I'm listening to audibly, and that is Legendborn by Tracey Deon. I think I read this maybe a year and a half ago, I'm pretty sure, and I've read this one and Bloodmarked. Her third one, Oathbound, I think that's what it's called. I'm actually not sure when it's coming out, but I've been seeing a lot of press for it being released, so I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I've already wanted to reread this series because I don't really remember much about it. So I'm listening to the audiobook version of this, and I absolutely love this audiobook narrator. I need to look up what her name is because she narrates this series and also the Blood Like Magic series, and I love her voice. She does the narration so well. I'm pretty sure it's just her doing all of these narrations, which is crazy because there's a lot of characters in this series. I originally rated this 5 stars a year and a half ago, I'm pretty sure. I'm 20% of the way through the audiobook, I believe, so I don't really know what page I'm on. That is my I'm getting a call. But yeah, that is my update for right now. I'm excited to work my way through both these books. It's seeming like these are gonna remain 5 stars, but I'm not sure yet, so we'll find out. Cheers. Hello guys, I have an update. I just finished Lovely War, and I need to shut my window. I don't know if that was making any sound. I'm just absolutely blown away by this book. It's just such a beautiful story, and the way that it's told is so smart. Having the different gods and goddesses tell the story, and each god and goddess tell a specific part of the story. It's so clever when there's moments where there's 2 characters in this where they're musicians, and anytime they're performing and feeling very confident, Apollo is the one that's narrating that portion of the chapter. But then when it's there's an experience with death or loss, it's Hades narrating that chapter, and it's each god and goddess has a different tone, which that would be, I feel so difficult to write. I don't know. I'm not an author. I just read. It's just very impressive. I feel I already talked a lot about this book before. I can say this right now. This is still a 5-star read. I wish there was more than a 5-star option, because if there was, this would have it. I'm obsessed. These characters are real. I absolutely enjoyed my time. It was heartbreaking. That's how I feel about Lovely War. Go read it, please. The blue is any time I like cried or was sad. So a lot of blue. Also, I didn't mention this, but this book has the best, like, look at that flap. That's perfect. All books should be like this. This is the standard for many reasons. Also, I haven't like updated in a couple days, but I'm pretty far along in Legendborn. I think I'm like 75-80% of the way through it. Just been listening to the audiobook. Yesterday I went on like a really long walk. The day before that I went on a really long walk, so I've just been listening to it on my walks and I'm really enjoying it. Currently, right now, if I'm gonna be honest, it's not a 5-star anymore. I mean, I haven't finished the book. It's still so good and I'm really enjoying it. I just don't know if it's like a 5-star for me anymore. I don't want to explain my thoughts yet. I'm gonna do that when I finish the book, but that's how I'm feeling right now. I could be swayed. I really don't remember what happens at the end of this book. It's like I'm reading it for the first time, honestly, because my memory is so bad that that's what it feels like. I'm still thinking of what book I want to physically read next. I was thinking Book Lovers by Emily Henry, because when I first read that, I rated it a 5-star, and then like, I actually don't know if it would be a 5-star for me currently. So I was thinking maybe rereading that. I think that could be interesting. But I also was thinking, I have it right here, I'll just grab it. Scythe by Neal Schusterman. So totally different vibes, these two books. So I just don't know what I'm in the mood for. I'm kind of leaning to this. I do actually have, I just love how this book feels, because I do have the audiobook for Book Lovers. I think it's Julia Whalen who's the narrator, and I do love her audiobook narration, so maybe I'll physically read this, and this will be my next audiobook that I read. I think I'll do that. I'm like really in the mood for this. I think I'm gonna pick up Scythe. I think I've decided for right now. That's what I'm gonna read next. Hello. I do have my window open because it's like 1,000,000,000 degrees out. It's actually only like 70 degrees. I'm sorry. I don't do well with the heat. So if you can hear outside noises, I'm so sorry, but pretend it's some nice ambiance. I have some updates. The first major update is I have finished Legendborn by Tracey Deon. I overall really enjoyed my listening experience, and in general I try to not listen to fantasy books as audiobooks because I feel like a lot of the times I can't figure out what's going on, but since I've already read this before, I thought it'd be fine. I was very much knowing what was going on while I was reading it. With that to say, is this a great fantasy book? Yes. It's kind of more like urban fantasy, I would say. I think that's probably what it's classified as because it happens in the real world. I do believe that this is a great fantasy series and a fantasy book. I would still recommend this series to someone, but it's just not a 5-star for me anymore. I don't even know exactly like why it isn't a 5-star anymore. It just didn't give me that feeling of like obsession. Yeah, I love Bree in this book, the main character. I love her so much. I think she's such a good main character. She has all the elements of a main character that I really like. Confident in themselves, but also do have like some like insecurities that they do talk about. She's been through it. I just think she's a very relatable and great main character. I'm a Nick shipper. I can't lie. I love her and Nick. Low-key, this book is a little bit like Challengers a little bit. Let's talk about that. And I'm into it, but okay, anyways, yeah, I can't remember what happens in the second book. Like, that's what I'm excited about, is after reading this book, I really enjoyed it and I'm excited to read the second book. So don't get me wrong when I say that I do really like this book, I really like this series. Obviously, I'm going to continue the series. It's just not a 5-star read for me anymore, you know? I did mention this before that I was going to start this, but I started Scythe. I didn't annotate Legendborn just because I was listening to it audibly and I kind of knew that I wouldn't need to annotate it. Like, I really don't annotate books unless they're like my writer dies. So Scythe, I'm annotating barely. I'm just like highlighting things I'm enjoying. These mean nothing. They're all the same color. So it's just like either quotes I really like or there's like scenes that I love. Really doesn't mean anything. I'm on page, quite a bit of the ways in, 211, chapter 21. Absolutely loving it. I haven't read this book for probably like, I think I was probably like 16 when I read it. So I probably haven't read this book for like 8 years. That's actually crazy. I don't want to think about that. So I think I was the age of the characters in this book. We won't get into that. Did I already talk about what this book is about? I don't know if I did. If I didn't talk about it, I'll insert a little summary of what it's about because I don't want to repeat myself if I've already talked about it. But absolutely loving my time. Right now, it is still a 5-star. But yeah, that's my update for this book. It's a lot more intense than I remembered it being. Let's get into that part. This is a YA book. Now, I have also started a new audiobook because I need an audiobook on deck always. I have started Funny You Should Ask by Ellissa Sussman. The reason I am rereading this book is because I remember after I read that book absolutely loving it. And then I have truly never thought about it ever since. And then when I was looking through the books that I've rated 5 stars in the past, I saw this book on there and I was like, oh. So I don't know if it's still a 5-star today. I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 50% of the way through the audiobook actually, because it's a quick one. It's 8 hours, 1.5 speed. Right now, I would say it's a 4. Let's see what happens. I don't remember really what happens in the end and stuff. And that's kind of another point of this video is I just don't trust my rating system right now. Now I do. This past 2 months, I've been very strict on the books that I've been rating. Honestly, probably a month. Yeah, I need to be better at that. Yeah, I just don't trust my rating on that one. So I wanted to reread it. And I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a great little rom-com thing. It's about, let me give the premise. It's about this girl who is a journalist and she interviews this major celebrity who is her all-time celebrity crush. They have this interview that goes viral. Also in the book, it cuts to 10 years later where they're doing an anniversary interview of the famous interview that the two of them had together. There's a lot of things that the public doesn't know about what happened between the two of them. Was it just an interview or was there something more? And it's really cute. I love the idea of just a common girl getting with her celebrity crush. It's what we have to hope for. Very fun, very fast read. Those are my updates. Once I finish Scythe, I think I'm going to do one more book for this video, and I haven't yet decided what book I want that to be. So once I finish Scythe, I will update you and let you know what book I pick out. Hi guys, I'm back and I have some updates for you. I have finished 2 books since I have updated you. My bad. It's been chaotic. I don't know if you can see, but I am moving, so it's been just kind of hectic. I had a couple trips and then I'm in the middle of packing. Let me adjust that. It's just been kind of chaotic. I did end up finishing Scythe. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I was at my sister's friend's cabin for the 4th of July. I was in the middle of rereading this and I was just so distracted by my thoughts about this book at times where I just kind of wanted to be away and just reading this. So at some points I was just kind of being antisocial and just reading this outside. Do I regret it? No, I had such a great time. Long story short, I would say that this is definitely still a 5-star. It was so much fun rereading this book, and this was the book that really got me into reading again. I just think this series is so good. I feel what I noticed this time, rereading it, is that there are a lot of parallels to the Hunger Games actually. The 2 main characters, Citra and Rowan, they kind of are similar to Katniss and Peeta. Same with the way that they become Scythes is kind of similar to the Hunger Games, where they don't have a choice, but then they have this apprentice that is helping them learn the ways and learn how to survive in a way. That was interesting. I mean, I feel with books like this, you're gonna have some parallels to different dystopian books. It was so good. I love this series. I'm actually in the middle of rereading Thunderhead right now. I'm not gonna include it in this video because I honestly can't remember if I rated that book a 5-star when I first read it, so I'm not gonna include it in this video, but just know I'm now wanting to reread the whole series, which I'm intrigued about because I remember I didn't really like the 3rd book, but I'm wondering if my opinion will be different now. So we will see on that. But yes, absolutely love this book. Still 5-star, must read. Okay, the next book, I don't even know. Did I mention that I was reading it? Oh, this is so bad. I literally don't remember if I mentioned that I was reading it. But I finished Funny You Should Ask. While I did enjoy my time, I just don't think it's a 5-star for me anymore. Yeah, I ended up rating it a 3.75, which is such an annoying rating, but I felt a 3.5 was too low and a 4 was too high, so we met in the middle. I would recommend this book if you're wanting just a cute, fun rom-com, and I'm trying to be more particular of not just rating a book 5-star just because I really enjoyed it in that moment. I want it to be a 5-star if if I think about it all the time, still think about those characters and stuff, I'm always gravitating towards it. That's what I kind of mean by a 5-star now. and that book just isn't that anymore, but I definitely enjoyed my time, would definitely recommend it. I actually have started a new book, and the last book that I'll read in this video, and that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I wanted to reread this book because I have been rereading the Emily Henry books. Like I reread Happy Place not that long ago, and I've read People We Meet on Vacation I think 3 times, I'm pretty sure. I've been wanting to reread some of these books because Book Lovers was never my favorite. It was actually my least favorite, has been my least favorite for a while now. I saw that it was still rated 5 stars on my Goodreads. You know, I don't remember. Like a bad Emily Henry book isn't even bad. Like I don't consider this a bad book. I think just like because all of her other books are like so amazing and so strong, this was always my least favorite, but I couldn't even remember why it was my least favorite. I'm about 70% of the way through the audiobook actually, because I love the Emily Henry audiobooks because it's Julia Whalen and I absolutely love her. So I've been listening to audiobook and I have been absolutely loving this. I'm like, why is this my least favorite? I don't understand. I'm really liking it. I'm enjoying my time. So in this book you follow Nora Stevens, who is kind of considered like an ice queen personality wise. She's described as like the girl that men date, the uptight, bleach blonde hair, high heels, sophisticated woman that they realize they don't want anymore. Yeah, that's her, which I think is a very fun take for a book because I feel like it's always like, oh, she owns a bookstore, they meet, they fall in love in this old small town, and like Sohye breaks up with his uptight girlfriend, and it's like, well, let's hear from the uptight girlfriend's perspective because I'm sure she did nothing wrong. And her sister Libby, in an attempt to kind of like recreate one of those romance books, they go to this small town and they have this little like bucket list of activities to do while they're in this small town. But who does she keep running into? None other than Charlie Lastra, the book editor that she's butt heads with back in New York. Let's just say they get along a little better here in this little small town than they do in New York. This book is so cute. I love Emily Henry's writing. Nora Stevens has always been like one of my favorite of her female characters. Right now, I would say it's at a 4.5. I can't remember what happens next. We kind of just hit a crazy part in the book, about 70% in. If you know, you know. So I need to get back to my audio listening. I'm just gonna pop in my audiobook and do some more packing because I leave in like 3 weeks. So I have to pack up my whole life and I'm trying not to freak out about that. So yeah, those are my updates. I'll update you when I finish this book. Hi guys, I'm back and I have finished Book Lovers. Just to cut to the chase, I rated this a 4.5 stars. I had such a fun time rereading this. I feel like last time when I rated it a 5 star, that was just initially how I felt right after I read the book. I was just like, oh, I love this book so much. But like I've mentioned, I never really gravitated towards this book. Yeah, this time I totally understand why this is a lot of people's favorite book by Emily Henry. Although it's not my personal favorite, it's still such a good book and I loved it. I had such a great time. I absolutely loved Nora and Charlie's relationship in this book. I feel like in so many romance books nowadays, the two main love interests, it's like more the opposites attract trope. And I feel like what's so interesting about this is that Charlie and Nora are so similar and they're just so compatible in that way. And that was just such a fun thing to read about. I loved it. I had a great time. 4.5 stars. Go read it if you haven't. Miss Emily Henry can truly never miss. So just to recap, here are the books that we read during this challenge. We also read Funny You Should Ask, which was my audiobook read. And for testing the theory of are these 5-star reads still 5 stars, we had 2 books that remained 5 stars, and those were Lovely War and Scythe. These two, they're just 5-star reads. I will recommend them to everyone. I'll still recommend every book that I read during this challenge, but these are the ones that I can say with my whole chest that these are 5-star reads and that they're 2 of my favorite books of all time. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had such a fun time filming this video because who doesn't love to reread your favorite books? It was so much fun. If you haven't yet, I would appreciate it so much if you subscribed and if you liked this video, if you wanted to give it a like. Also comment down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. I would love to know. But that's all I have for you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.